Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the SH Figuarts Injustice Superman. Here's a quick look at the packaging since I know some of you guys like that. Standard SH Figuarts looking package, really nothing too special. Pose on that side, some very minimal posing options there, and then another kind of stylized shot there. The figure stands roughly 16 centimeters, a little bit closer to about 16 centimeters, which makes him about 6¼ inches, so slightly smaller than your domestic 1/12 scale figures, but close enough where you could probably interchange them a little bit. So if that's what you're concerned with, you can probably make that work. As far as accessories go, he has 3 heads total. We have the standard head that you can see right there. We have the Heat Vision Eyes head, which is right there. Personally, I don't think that looks very good because there's no eye, really. The center part's slightly more yellow where the eyes are, but it mostly just looks like he has gold eye areas and no actual eyes, so that looks a little bit weird. And we have this one, which looks, I guess, like he's yelling. The face sculpts look a little bit strange to me. That looks more like he's getting ready to take a bite of something. But it's okay, I guess. And I guess his tongue is up. I don't know what's up with that, but the mouth is like filled with that purplish red color. That's pretty odd. I don't know. And then the eyes are just blue dots. The paintwork is very odd. It's really flat looking. There's a tiny bit of shading on the skin tones, but having the eyes just be one solid flat blue dot looks really, really weird. And then no shading in the hair looks weird. And the face paint is kind of muted. I don't know, it just looks odd. He's pretty much on par with the other Injustice figures in that he's not very good, not very well executed. He does have interchangeable hands, so we have the fist hands on either side, and then we also have open hands. That's it for accessories, unless you want to count the cape, which looks pretty good. It's a decent sculpt. There's some shading on there, so it looks nice, but it has the exact same problem as the Batman cape in that these hinges don't really serve a purpose because that doesn't look like a cape anymore, so you can't ever push them out farther than that. So you're going to get that or a closed cape, which I guess does serve some purpose, but it's not that much. I mean, you just get a slightly more open cape, so it's okay. Why they have hinges on them, that is beyond me. That there's no scenario where that looks good. And since they are this hard, brittle plastic, it's just not the best design. Same as Batman, really problematic. And even worse than Batman, you have to peg the cape in using that single peg underneath this flap. Batman's flap was easier to get to. This one's kind of challenging, so you can get it in there, but it still sticks out really far off of his back. Like, that's not right. It's not supposed to stick out like that. You can see this piece here comes out really far. It's just really awkward and poorly designed. And you can use the hinge to flap the cape up, but it just doesn't work very well because this doesn't go any higher. So you can't really bring the cape up that far. It doesn't work well. It doesn't look that good and it doesn't work well. So it's a horrible design for the cape. Once again, the only okay thing is that you can and have the narrow cape or the slightly less narrow cape. You can't do any real dynamic poses with it that don't look goofy. I don't know, it's just not great. And it falls off really easily since it's just that one singular peg in there. It's not a good design. As far as the head articulation, we have, let's just pop it off and show you. If I can get it off, there we go. So we have a ball peg, double ball peg for the head. Neck feels like it's on at least a single ball peg, so pretty good range of motion for that, and that is okay. Both of those work pretty well, so no problems there. These are on a ball peg and then another ball peg, so these will move around with the shoulders, which is actually pretty well done. That's all right by me. That looks pretty good, works pretty well. And then I want to say the red metallic paint looks awesome. They did a great job with that. The muted blue looks okay, and then the other reds and dark blues and everything looks pretty good. So paintwork other than the face is on point. We have our standard ball hinge shoulder with a ball socket where it connects, but where it connects is now a butterfly joint. So that's pretty good. It works pretty well on this guy. You can get the arm around fairly nicely. You have The hinge, of course, also, which lets you bring the arm out that far. And you have a bicep swivel built underneath that shoulder piece there, so you can rotate the arm around a little bit. It's not the best bicep swivel in the world, but it's effective enough, so that's okay. Double jointed elbow. Doesn't give you that good of a range of motion, but it's good enough, so that's okay. He's actually not that bad of a figure. It's just that cape that's really atrocious. We have a ball hinge for the wrist, so full range of motion there. Really no problem at all. For the torso joint, we have a hinge in the upper part of the torso and then a ball peg at the bottom, which is kind of a strange joint, and you can get some gapping, but you get pretty good range. He can go pretty far back, crunch pretty far forward, side to side. Like I said, you will get gapping, but you can just not go quite that far, and you still get good range, and then you can rotate it a little bit also, so it's not too bad. I do think sculpt-wise, they probably didn't need to make it such a flat joint, because it stands out, it's a little obvious, but functionally it's not too bad. For the torso, you get a little bit of lean, the lower torso, a little bit of twist, and a little bit of side to side also, so it's okay. You can get them in some decent poses, and you shouldn't have too much trouble doing that, so that's all right. For the hips, we have our standard pull down ball hinges, so that gives us the full range of motion. Once we bring it down, we can bring the leg pretty far up. It works, I'd say, fairly well. Out to the side, not too bad. Definitely could be worse, so that's okay. And then you do get the play around on the ball socket itself, and you can see the socket and the thigh are separate, so you can spin the thigh around that. So the hips actually work pretty well. I do want to point out, at least for me, the way they designed the crotch piece makes it stand out. The whole thing it's too big. It stands out a little bit too much, I think, and that's probably so that you get better range of motion in the hip, but it does look kind of separate. Maybe if they had cut down here just to leave the blue part on, like, part of the torso, I don't know, something to hide that seam a little bit I think would have been good, but it's not bad. For the knees, we have pretty decent double jointed, double hinge knees. They work nicely. The knee pad sticks out, and that's okay. Looks pretty good. Now the ankles are really ugly, horribly ugly design, but they function pretty well. They go all the way forward, pretty far back. We have a really nice classic ankle rocker. So functionally they're good, but they are just really ugly. And the toe hinge is okay, a little unnatural looking, but effective enough. So it's kind of, I mean, it does some things pretty well, but then it does other things pretty poorly. So it kind of balances out to just be a mediocre figure. I don't know what really happened with this Injustice line. It's not that good. It's kind of an injustice, if you catch my drift. He'll look okay in some poses, especially just kind of a standing pose or a hovering flight pose. It's not a horrible looking figure by any means, but it has some fairly significant problems, especially the cape. So it's just not that great. It's like slightly better than average figure for Play Arts, for SH Figuarts. They've definitely done a lot better. So it's just a little bit disappointing in that regard. It's not bad. It's definitely better than Batman. It's probably a little bit better than Joker, and it's about on point, or on the same level as Harley Quinn. So there you have it, guys. Stick around for some photos here at the end, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.